Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. A little bit of an impromptu sort of video here. As you can see, we've kind of already started the fight, but this is actually the Gahan fight, encounter, whatever you want to call it, in the new raid Olnir. Is it Olnir? Oldir. Yeah, kind of got invited last second. It's actually almost over. We're just trying to basically see what's happening, really. It's an incredibly messy fight. So it looks like an ad fight to start off with that transitions into like a burn phase. Again, I don't think any groups have managed to kill it yet. I don't think any groups have managed to get it particularly low yet. This is testing on heroic, so we don't know what sort of mechanics are going to be in this fight on like normal, or if anything gets added on mythic. We can be presuming that it will, but what we don't know. I am playing Assassination for this. I don't have a DPS meter. I can only hope that somebody's going to be able to give me one in a second, or give me this at the end of the fight. So that's the orbs. Really, really easy to do. You kind of take it to the edge of the room, drop it off, you summon a couple of balls. We will talk about this a little bit more in depth in a second. This is a little bit of a rushed sort of perspective, but it is what it is. So realistically, there's kind of two parts to this fight. Most of the fight, I believe. One thing we have to do is this downstairs part. So we go around, we kill all the ads, easy peasy. The other group then goes up here, and what the other group has to do is get a Titan Ball, or whatever it's called. I don't know where they spawn. I presume they spawn on there. You have to run them through this all the way to the end. Let's actually do it with this guy here. Run them through all the way to the end, basically to get to put it into that drive over there. Really easy to do upstairs, but you kind of have to rotate it because it's. We'll just get booted out. Wow. You have to rotate it. You can't go in once. So you can only go in once. So looking at the tactics at the moment of what we know is going to be in on heroic. So while you're in the arena, which is the sort of first phase, ad phase, effectively, on the downstairs part, the boss gets shielded for 5% of his max health every 0.5 seconds. I mean, you just cannot damage the boss. It's just pointless. He does explosive corruption. Exposes corruption to a random player that explodes after 5 seconds, dealing quite a lot of damage in fairness. I had about 60-70k health. I have low gear. Maybe a little bit higher, but it still does a fair bit of damage. Creates a patch of blighted ground, so you're going to want to put that at the edge, like the blight on like Argus, things like that. In addition, spawns 5 of the balls that you saw that radiate outwards. If they hit anybody else, look at this now, it infects them with explosive corruption again. So if you hit another person, it spreads like a sort of plague. So effectively, you just have to dodge them. It's such a huge thing on this fight that you have to dodge them. Blighted ground does a lot of damage. Regeneration Blast causes all areas of blighted ground to shrink over time until they vanish. So this is part of the next phase. 1,000 Mauls. These are different ads. There is basically a tentacle one that's going to shoot laser beams at people. One that needs to be tanked, which does a lot of damage, knocks them back. Probably going to be a rotating one. And upon reaching 100 energy, there's a profane ritual. Increases damage taken, healing done, and damage done of all creatures, including players within 10 yards. Any player reaching 2 stacks becomes an unwilling thrall of Gahoon. So you effectively get mind control. So you're going to want to get 1 stack of this. Although 25% increased damage taken sounds horrible. You're not going to want to get 2 though. And then you have what looks to be like an AoE ad. So this is a heroic only one. It's just going to do a lot more AoE damage. Basically, you're just going to have to be something that needs to be interrupted and killed on cooldown, like as soon as it comes up. You then have the upper platform, which is what we looked at afterwards. A mote of titanic power, depositing this core in the reorigination drive. Reorigination drive generates 17 energy. While holding the power matrix, the target's move speed is reduced by 20% every 2 seconds until they become immobile. So what we found is rogues mages, anything with like a blink mobility or like the hook for rogues, things like that, shadow step, could get round this a little bit and get further along, so you need less people to touch the ball, which is amazing, and we'll talk about why in a second. Throws the Titan Core up to 20 yards. Basically, you just throw the ball, hope someone catches it. If it doesn't get caught, it gets destroyed, and you really don't want that. The lingering effects of the Curse of the Flesh interfere with the Titan's power, preventing interaction with the Titan Cores for 5 minutes. So it means you can only do this once every 5 minutes per person. When the drive reaches 100 energy, it unleashes a blast of titanic power, inflicting 6k arcane damage to all creatures, including players every 5 seconds for 25 seconds. This blast incapacitates Cahoon and all of his minions, increasing all damage taken by these creatures by 100%. So effectively, on this phase, this is kind of the Lust Burn phase. You're gonna want Lust. You're gonna want Dark. Dark Bargain. You're basically gonna want to pop all cooldowns, do as much damage as you can to Cahoon. You don't want any ads going into this phase because realistically, if you do, you just have to spend time killing them, and you haven't got the time to do it. From what I understand, you sort of From what I understand now, we didn't actually get to this phase. That kind of shows how nuts this fight was. It was a pug, but we didn't actually get to this phase. What I understand is that is like the second phase, or the end of the first phase. And then you go into the second phase where Cahoon is coming out of his lair. So, if it makes sense, when the blast comes out, you need to, like, Cahoon is who you focus. Then he comes out of his lair. So he comes out of his lair lower health. Each of Cahoon's melee attacks inflict 3k damage, which is a lot of damage, and consecutively grows. Effectively, you just need to tank swap this every maybe 2 stacks or something. Because it swaps on reset. So as soon as you swap to a new target, it resets on the old one. So it's pretty easy to kind of tank swap this. Any player touching the wave causes an obnoxious explosion, so effectively, don't get hit by the wave. This affects stacks. They found that you could actually stack this by the stairs, and you wouldn't take stacks, but I don't know, weird one. The tendrils immobilize the target, and they have a pulsing thing. You effectively want to just move away from that player, kill the ad when it spawns, easy enough, and he still does explosive corruption. During this phase, you still have this ball phase going on again, except this time. So effectively, phase 1 is ads balls. Phase 2 is ads boss balls. And phase 3, he destroys the machine at 25%. So from what I understand, you're probably going to rotate between them until you get to 25%. 25% does a lot of damage, 38,000 damage, and you just have to run away from the points of impact. The arena floor, he starts doing all this crazy stuff. So he creates growths that deal damage to all players within 70 yards. You just got to avoid them. Again, you have the tank swap ability, Wave of Corruption, which is the AoE you can avoid with the stairs. Gazer, Cahoon, you have to face away from him. I hate this mechanic. It's like flashlight mechanic in Lower Karazhan. Pretty hard to do because people are bad. Explosive Corruption, which is pretty simple. So, realistically, this fight doesn't sound very hard, but there's a lot of damage, a lot of healing needed. You go up to phase 1, you have the ads. So you have a bottom group which are going to kill the ads, a top group that are going to kill they're going to do the ball phase. Ball spawns every, I don't know, maybe let's call it 30 seconds. Every time that, and you swap sides. You need to rotate through players so that obviously a load of people get the cooldown. You can't use the same person twice. So you keep rotating around people. You get into burn phase. Burn him down as much as you can. Then he comes out. Next phase. You do the same again. You've got ads, you've got balls, and now you have the boss. Boss you can't really kill during this phase. You can do normal damage to him, but realistically, you're not going to do much to him because he has a lot of health. You need that extra 100% damage to actually start burning him down. And then you go into basically a rotation cycle of going into burn phase, coming out of burn phase, going into burn phase, going out of burn phase to these 25%, and then it's going to be a lot of AoE damage. It looks like a burn phase effectively. and there's no more balls at that point. So it is just get to 25%, burn the boss with everything you have. So it's really interesting fight. It's going to be quite a long, drawn-out fight, and honestly, I think it's going to be quite difficult. But yeah, super interested to test it. It looks horrifying. That's the... Oh my god. That's the one that you can get the ad off. You can get the buff off. It looks amazing and crazy and weird and scary. That's the tentacle, and then that's the interrupt one. That's the beam one. That's the interrupt one. Overall, didn't really get too many attempts on it. Unfortunately, I literally forgot it was happening. Logged on, got pulled into a group, but we gave it a little bit of a test. Going to be doing a lot more beta stuff in the next couple of days, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, like it, thumbs up, notification, all that good stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you later.